Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, periods like that, I'm just dead to the world basically, because you do 8-9 hours at your regular job and then you come home and you're doing another 4-5 hours on the pet portrait business, and you get up and do it all over again for, like at Christmas, you do it for 3 months in a row. No breaks, no weekends really, because you've got to work at the weekend. It's hard work, but it is very, very rewarding.
Welcome to Side Hustle Hero, the show that is laser focused to inspire you to take action to start or to scale your side hustle income streams. I'm your host, Joan Posivy, author of The Way Success Works. If it's the early days of your side hustle and you're putting in a lot of hours, you're not alone. Oftentimes, we're doing it all. The website, the marketing, bookkeeping, the buying, and it goes on. And you're juggling all that with your full-time work. Today's guest can totally relate. In the 3-year history of his side hustle, he's had over 12,000 sales. Luke Herbert continues to work full-time for an employer he's been with now for about 10 years. But as his side hustle grew, he was able to hire a full-time person in year 3 who now handles the vast majority of orders coming into his business, Unique Pet Prints. This now gives Luke time to envision how he can grow the business by expanding the offerings. And now he's even carved out time to be a founder and partner in a completely unrelated business. We'll touch on that too. In today's episode, you'll hear how he's grown Unique Pet Prints from startup to an annual revenue of £80,000 and how he's currently expanding that business. Now here is my conversation with UK-based pet portrait expert, Luke Herbert. Well, welcome, Luke.
Thank you very much.
Well, your pet portraits don't look like a typical gloss photo. To me, some of them look almost like paintings, yet others like pencil sketches. Tell us about your process. Like if I was a customer and I uploaded a photo of, say, my dog, what happens next at your end?
So once the photo's been uploaded, we use the Adobe package, and we've got a few different ways of doing it. Don't want to divulge any secrets, but
of course,
there's
yes.
a few, they're all digitally created basically. So we found a few different ways of making it look, like you said, a sketched kind of effect with a pencil, or there's others that look more like a painting, and there's some that kind of look like, there's a certain style that seems to have been popular in recent years using an iPad, where they're sort of hand drawn on an iPad.
Okay.
But because they're done digitally, they kind of look a bit more modern. That's our bestseller, the way we do that. So it's all done on a computer, and there's just a few different ways of doing it.
Wonderful. And it appears it can be pretty personalized too, with the pet's name, for example.
Yeah. Fully customizable. So colors, the names, everything. They have full control as to what they want on the poster.
So when, and I guess why, did you produce your first pet portrait?
So it's 2020 when COVID had just hit, pandemic had just landed, and I was furloughed from my job, as was most of the country. And I've got a dog, Nova, a cockapoo, and I'm also a big fan of space. And I wanted a picture of her in like an astronaut suit. So I took a picture of Buzz Aldrin in his astronaut suit, and I made Nova look like she was in that suit. Made that, printed it off, put it on my wall, and then a few different people had kind of said, oh, that's pretty cool, you should look at selling them. So I spent a bit of time, but put a few different designs on Etsy. Yeah, got a sale that night, and then it kind of went from there.
Wait, you got a sale the first night?
Yeah. The first night we put it live at like 7:30 in the evening. Went to bed, woke up in the morning, and I'd had a sale late that evening, so kind of knew it might.
Yeah, did you have like a lot of Etsy experience going into that to be able to land that, or do they help boost new items that somebody's just set up an account or something? Because that's pretty crazy.
So I had a shop previously. I also like woodworking. So I'd had a shop doing woodworking, selling like chopping boards and coffee tables and stuff like that. So I've been on Etsy for a good few years now.
Okay.
So I kind of knew everything about, SEO and listings and where you can land with things like that. Like, I'm no expert, but I had a rough idea.
Right.
So when I put my first listing up, I'd kind of done a bit of research as to the competition and the keywords that they're using, different types of mock-up that they've used as their photos, to try and just see what people are buying. Because you can't see on Etsy, you can't see how often something sells, but you can see how many sales a shop has.
Right.
So if a shop has 20,000 sales, they're doing pretty well. So I basically just kind of took 3 listings from competitors and kind of almost took a best of situation out of their 3 listings. And just kind of put the SEO up and the keywords and whatnot. And I like to describe it. I think it was a little bit of luck and a little bit of hard work. It was definitely a mixture of the two. But it did quite well.
Wonderful. That to me, Luke, is a classic example of when things don't go as planned. So, for example, I'm just guessing. I mean, maybe you had higher expectations about the woodworking sales on the platform, and maybe that didn't make you the $1 million, but it was that experience that led you
Yeah.
the next time with the pet portraits to be able to upload and have more success with it, like right out of the gate. That's
Yeah,
terrific.
100%.
And I
100%.
understand that in that first year, you turned a profit around 3,500 pounds,
Yeah, yeah, roughly.
and that was 2020.
That was, oh no, pardon me. So the first year was it was about £8,000 profit, and then the second year was about 35, and then this year, next month is our final month, but we're on target to do about 80.
80,000 pounds for the year,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
from the pet portraits.
just from the pet portraits.
That is so
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm very proud of it.
Do you have any help, or is it just you?
Yeah, so it's it used to just be me, and then I have my fiance. She's full-time employed on it. I took her on in November because the Christmas rush was obviously
Oh, okay.
manic, just
Hmm.
crazy to deal with. Obviously, both of us were in full-time employment at the time and just doing the pet portraits in evenings and weekends, which worked fine, but it does get to a point where it's kind of like this needs a full-time employee on this. So we took, well, I took Charlie on. She's full-time, and then we've also got one of my other friends is also part-time. She does 8 hours a week on it. So there's three of us in total.
So are you working full time now,
Yes,
like in
yeah,
a
not
nine to
on.
five?
Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah.
What are you doing there?
So I'm a production manager at a local print company, which is the only job I've ever had. I left school and did an apprenticeship there.
Hmm.
Next year is my 10th year there, I think. So I've been there ever since. So yeah, still in full-time employment.
Ah, so there's another secret to your success. Your background in printing, so you've got an eye for that to begin with.
Yes, yeah, yeah, that definitely did help. Yeah, to begin with, when I started it, like I said, it was in COVID. So what I would do is I would so I had a big spreadsheet that I would send to my boss, and he would sort of know, oh, this customer wants this portrait, and he would print them for me because he's a really
Mm.
good guy like that.
Oh, nice.
He would print them for me, and then when I returned to work, I started doing it. So I was basically using the company I work at to do the portraits to begin with, and then it got to a point where I needed a printer because it was just too much to kind of do in my working day.
Hmm.
So at that point, I took it on myself and yeah, got a printer.
So how do you juggle that full-time work as a production manager with the portrait business?
But honestly, so the portrait business now, because Charlie is full time now,
Hmm.
I don't need to do that many hours on it anymore. It's only during the busy periods. I've kind of got more of a managerial role, I guess, if you could call it that, with
Sure.
that business now. So I'm looking to grow it and expand and look at new products and whatnot. Charlie does 80% of the work. So it's not like I'm really super duper hands on with it anymore. I'm
Right.
just looking to grow it. So that is easier to juggle now. Before I had Charlie,
Hmm.
it wasn't too bad. For 80% of the year, it weren't too bad. But Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, periods like that,
Yeah.
I'm just dead to the world basically because it's just tiring because you do obviously 8, 9 hours at your regular job, and then you come home and you're doing another 4, 5 hours on the pet portrait business, and you get up and do it all over again for, like at Christmas, you do it for 3 months in a row. No breaks, no weekends really, because you got to work at the weekend. It's hard
Yeah.
work, but it is very, very rewarding. It's great.
That's great, especially when you hear back from your customers.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Some of the reviews we get are very, very nice. Yeah, because a lot of the portraits we do, I think, are of pets that are no longer with people.
Mm.
It's really nice that they come to us and we do a portrait for them. And then some of the feedback we get, yeah, it's really nice because we've created something for our customers that doesn't cost a fortune and ultimately brings them joy because every time they look at it, they think of their pet that's no longer with them. So yeah, it's very, very nice.
Well, I must say it's a terrific gift idea because it's so personalized.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And the price point that we're at, it's very affordable. So that's why we're so busy during Christmas because people just go nuts for it.
Hmm.
I think there's a certain, again, I don't want to say it's all like I've done this perfectly first time because I'm an expert, because I'm not. There was a certain amount of luck to it, but there was a rationale to me being at this price point because I'm
Right.
cheaper than everyone else that I can find.
Hmm.
And it's delivered straight to your door. And yeah, it's like you said, it's a great gift because it's personalized and yeah, it's a good gift to give.
Well, did I read this right? You have over 12,000 sales?
Yeah, 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 12,000 sales.
Okay, I think that kind of underscores your last statement about finding the proper price point.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Wow. Because it's a physical product that you are mailing out, do you do any international sales?
Yes, yeah. So it's most of our sales, I'd probably say it's 90% are in the UK and Ireland,
Hmm.
and the other 10% go all over the world. I don't think there's anywhere we don't ship to. As long as Royal Mail can get it there, we will deliver it. So we've been all over America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, loads of places in Europe, Poland, even places like we've sent one to Japan, which is just crazy because who in Japan is looking at my shop? But yeah, they've gone all over. We do international.
That must be pretty exciting to see when those happen. Oh, we're in another country now.
It's great. I love it. I regret one thing. I should have got, you can get these maps that you can scratch off the countries of. I
Hmm.
should have got one of those when we got our first international, because at that point you can then scratch off what country you're in.
Yes.
And I think at this point the map would be pretty well discovered.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's a cool feeling. It's a cool feeling.
I love that. Was there something in particular that happened that you're thinking, okay, seriously, I can't be doing this anymore. I need to hire my first staff person?
Yeah, so the first Christmas, bearing in mind it was our first one, I didn't know what to expect, whether it was going to be crazy busy or just a bit busier than usual. At
Sure.
that point,
That would have been December 2020?
yes, yeah. So the Christmas period for us typically begins in October. The beginning of October is when we start to see a big uptick. Once I'd done that Christmas, I think it was the following year. I think it was our second year. Early in the second year, I took on my first employee, and then that Christmas, yeah. So 2022, that was our second year. That Christmas was crazy, went astronomical. And
Wow.
that was when I would start thinking, wow, I think the following year, if this continues, we're going to need a full-time employee. And it kind of aligned quite nicely. My fiance had a job on a contract, so she was only employed for 6 months. And at the end of the 6 months, she would need to look for another job.
Mm,
It kind of aligned quite nicely with that. And
lovely.
rather than obviously her looking for another job, we kind of like, well, we took the plunge and yeah, not looked back yet. So yeah, it's good.
Do you ever see yourself going full time with it?
I don't know. I think about it sometimes. Eventually, potentially, yeah, but not at the minute. Not anytime soon, I don't think. I think Charlie's got it covered.
Yeah,
Doesn't quite need me yet.
nice. And
Yeah,
who knows, at some point you might end up buying the company that you're currently production manager at.
maybe, maybe.
I noticed that you have your own website, uniquepetprints.com, as well as
Yep.
the Etsy store. What caused you to create your own site?
So Etsy take quite a large portion of the sale, which is understandable because they bring the customer.
Sure.
But I first made it in the beginning of the second year. I made a website, and I don't know much about marketing in terms of getting customers from Google to my website. So I made that. That didn't do very well, didn't get many sales. So I kind of left it online, and
Hmm.
then December just gone, I remade the website, got that live, and then I've recently got into a contract with a marketing company in Manchester, and they're smashing it. And we're trying to basically not divert, because Etsy have been very good to me, but
Hmm.
if we could obviously have people come straight to us so we can
Sure.
build ourselves as a bit more of a brand rather than being just found on Etsy, that would be great. So yeah, that was the main thing.
Great. So the marketing company also digs into your SEO for the site
Yes, yeah.
and
So they
website.
are, yeah. They use Facebook and Instagram mainly, but they also have had a look at our website and kind of advised me on various different things, because there's a whole science. I didn't know this, but there's a whole science to how people behave on your website in terms of conversion rate and behavior. And there was a few things that needed tweaking, which we've tweaked since, and it seems to be going quite well. So yeah, they're in charge of the SEO and whatnot for the website.
Lovely. Well, what platform or software is running the store component of your website?
It's WooCommerce. So I built the
Okay.
website using WordPress, and there's
Hmm.
a plugin called Divi. I use Divi to build it, and then WooCommerce is all the stores built on. So it's not too advanced. Most people could do some YouTubing and pick it up quite easily.
Yeah, so it's doing its job.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Well, we've been talking about pet portraits, but it looks like you've expanded your product line to include phone cases.
Yes, yeah,
How did
yeah.
that come about?
So we do the portraits, like you said. We were looking at different ways just new products, basically. And so we do things like mugs and phone cases. Back in the day, well, talking like it was years and years and years ago, it wasn't that long ago, but when I first
Way
opened it,
back when we launched.
I know, yeah. We did do things like great big beach towels and sort of tote bags and things like that. But I think that was too broad. The lesson I learned from that is it's too broad. I can't possibly control this. Let's hone it back down. Let's get really good at the portraits. And then once we've got this up and running, we can expand, basically. So phone cases was the first one because everyone has a smartphone these days. So it would be silly not to have that. Phone cases went first, and then mugs followed after. And later this year, I think we're going to start looking at customized harnesses and leads and whatnot as a package for your dog. So you can get a custom harness with a pattern on that you want, and it'll have our little badge on it and things like that. So stay tuned. We'll be looking at things like that.
Fantastic. Well, with the phone cases, of course, there's so many makes and models on the market. How do you handle inventory?
So we basically don't have any inventory. We have a printer that prints them, and we have basically a few of each type of phone case. So I tell a lie, we have a small bit of inventory, but it's not like I have hundreds and hundreds of phone cases here. So I just do them as and when, but there are a few. The newer models are the ones that sell most, like the iPhone 12s, 13s, etc., and the Samsung alternatives. They're the ones that sell most. So we keep a stock of them. All of the older phones I kind of buy as and when someone places an order. So it's not like I'm keeping hundreds here. I like to keep it quite small because obviously we're still just in my home. It's not like we have an office. So we have one little box bedroom here. So we don't have too much room. So we like to keep it contained.
Plus, before we know it, there's going to be an iPhone 14 and 15 and
yes,
the
exactly.
same with the Android. So you probably have a supplier locally that you can gain access very quickly to more inventory as you need it then.
Yes, very quickly. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, 1 to 2 days usually. So it's quite quick.
What's been the biggest challenge for you in running the portrait business while still working full time?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, time, I think. When my actual 9 to 5 is busy, I can do overtime. So it's not uncommon for me to be doing 10-hour days, 11-hour days every now and again. Doing that during busy seasons there for a week, and then coming home and having to put in an extra 3, 4, 5 hours at the pet portrait business, that is a challenge, 100%. That is one of the reasons we took on a full-time employee, because everyone has their limits, don't they? And working 15, 16 hours a day is just, it's not sustainable. You can't do it. Even if you get your 8 hours of sleep, my colleagues at work always take the Michael out of me because I get a bit grouchy when I've had not enough sleep. So I think they were dropping hints that something needed to change, but that was definitely a challenge. Doing 15, 16-hour days that's strong behavior to be keeping up.
And of course, there's so many other components in our life as well that we don't want to shut out because of this.
Yeah.
But in a startup like that, is if you said you had a business plan, I think, too, didn't you? Or no?
A very vague one.
So there's an idea there of, okay, if we're on track at some point, yes, we can hire this first person. That's going to free me up to step back and take a look at a bigger vision. What can we bring on next? And then that growth happens. I know with one of the businesses I had was a self-storage facility, and I did a 5-year business plan when we first bought it. And I could see that after those 5 years, I wouldn't be needed at all. And so you don't mind putting that extra time in, knowing that you've got this vision that you're working towards, and it's not going to be forever.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone is working towards an end goal type situation, aren't they? So yeah, that helped to have it all kind of mapped out. I've got a Google sheet which has I've actually just remade it. I've got the next 4 years mapped out on there financially as to where I want it to be and where it realistically is, basically. So I can keep track of all of that. And that's how I kind of gauge how much time I need to spend in the business, because if this time next year we're doing 3 times the amount we're doing now, then yeah, it's probably going to need me, but I'll address that as and when the situation happens.
That's a nice problem to have.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm talking like this sucks. It does not suck. I'm in a very privileged position. It's a great problem to have.
Well, and I think that the other thing you hit on that I think is really key is having that plan to work towards, because what happens then in the background in your mind, it's churning and looking for ideas to make that happen because you've set that intention.
Yes.
You come across other ideas and product lines. And did I read somewhere that you started yet another business?
Yes. Yeah. We've just started. It's actually, so my boss at the printing company, 9 to 5, James, and my colleague and employee, Jess, we've just started a new business called Contaps, which is contactless business cards.
Okay.
So you basically tap the business card on your phone and it will load a digital business card, and then you can press a button and it will save all of your contact information in the person's phones. So it basically is the last business card that that person will need to buy, because you can program the digital business card as many times as you want. There's no limit. So yeah, we started that. I think that was last August. So yeah, a little while. Well, not that long ago, to be fair, but yeah, August.
And when do you think that'll launch?
It's up and running now. We've
It
just
is?
built.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We've just rebuilt the website. So that's going live probably this week at some point. Just doing a few final tweaks on there because we hit some roadblocks with the website we had built. But once that's live, we're full steam ahead. We'll be able to crack on with that full time. So that'd be good.
You heard it here first, folks.
Absolutely.
So who's the techie out of the three that did the back end work for it?
James. So it's James's idea. James came up with it, and he did a lot of research before coming to us, and then kind of the three of us put our heads together, and the product already exists. This isn't a new product. There are competitors out there.
Yes.
The difference is with ours is much easier to use. The website of ours, when you log on and you've created an account, it's very simple to just make your card. Whereas with the competition, it's quite overwhelming. There's a lot of things on the screen that you can click and choose, whereas ours is more of it kind of holds your hand through the final product. So yeah, it's definitely a joint effort between the three of us, to be honest.
Nice. Well, what's the best way for our listeners to connect with you, Luke?
You can find me on Instagram at Unique Pet Prints, or you can email me at luke@uniquepetprints.com.
Got it. And we'll sure to put that in the show notes.
Lovely.
Together with the website.
Oh, and yes, uniquepetprints.com is the website.
Got it. Well, through all you've done, starting Unique Pet Prints, as well as this new venture with the business cards, clearly you know how to get things done. Oh, and of course, you're still working full-time as a production manager. So what's your best tip, Luke, to inspire others to pursue their side hustle dream?
I think we're in an age now where there are so many opportunities online where people can kind of do lots and lots of research, whether it's on YouTube or just Googling as to what people are selling, whether it's on Amazon or Etsy or not on the high street. There are so many things that can be made now. So I think people should take the opportunity to just do a bit of digging, have a look around, see what people are selling, see what the competition are like. And if you think you can take it on, just have a go. If you've got nothing to lose, just have a go. Why not?
Go for it. Test it.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And then you don't have to play that what if game. You know, what if I had given it a shot?
Exactly. You don't have the kind of, what if this works? What if it doesn't work? You've just done it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try again. Try find another product, give it a go and see what happens.
Well, it's been working for you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Luke, for sharing your insights into your business and your enthusiasm for pet portraits and inspiring us to start another side hustle or scale what we've got. Thanks so much for being today's side hustle hero.
Thank you for having me.
There are a lot of things I like about Luke's side hustle, including the fact that as long as people have pets, they'll want to spend money on them and have personalized items around them like the pet portrait or cell phone cover or the dog harness. And as technology advances, I trust Luke will pivot accordingly. Plus, those people in your circle that sometimes you want to buy for, but they seem to already have everything, the portraits are a great gift idea for that pet owner. Well, that's a wrap for today. You'll find links to Luke's Instagram account and websites, including the one for Contaps, his new business card venture, and the show notes on our website, sidehustlehero.com. And I'd love to hear your feedback on the show, on the guests, how this podcast is helping you. What areas could we do better? Shoot me an email message to hello@joanposivy.com or by DM on Instagram @joanposivy. Thanks for listening, and hustle on.